happy on my own, making coffee just for one, and eating breakfast all alone. Fewer dishes to be done, I'm never running behind.
It has come to my attention that this coffin tank that I made is actually ugly. And you know what? I agree. Considering this was my first attempt ever at making a gas tank, I think I did okay. But it's time for a second attempt. Alright, time to get down to business. And since my main objective with this project is to make a tank that isn't ugly, or that's at least less ugly than my previous attempt, I figured it's best to start with a solid plan. So I grabbed some pen and paper and made some 2D drawings that I then turned into this. A scaled 3D model made entirely out of paper and tape. I then used this model to make this model. A full-scale representation made out of cardboard and tape. But I wasn't entirely happy with the proportions, so I actually made this. It's a bit better, but I'm not totally convinced, so I think the end result will be kind of a mix between these two. I'm actually really glad I made these models. Sure, they took some time to make, but in the end I think they will save me time and money, because they allowed me to find my mistakes early, and making these costs me nothing. They are literally made out of trash. And it's way better to find out that you don't like the design now before you start cutting into sheet metal. But with that being said, I think it's actually time to cut some sheet metal. The bottom and all of the side panels are done, and I actually made a second version of the rear one because I realized I wanted these small angles on the sides. And I guess the next step now is to tack all of this together, and this time around I will use my TIG welder. And this is actually my first proper project where I'm using TIG, so wish me luck, I will need it. All the panels are tacked together, and considering the material I'm using is only 0.9 millimeters thick, I think I did alright. I did blow a few holes, but that's nothing I can't fix later. Before I close up the tank with the top cover, I want to drill the hole for the petcock. And I won't use the stock petcock, but I will use the stock location. Kind of. This right here is the location of the stock petcock. It's very easy to spot because the paint on the frame is chipped. And that's because the stock tank has a tendency to rub the petcock against the frame every time you take the tank off. And there's actually also an indentation in the frame and in the engine to fit the petcock. I will be using a much simpler petcock that looks like this. And it will screw into this little bung. And I would want to attach it somewhere around here. Alright, let's drill some holes. Or rather, just one hole, hopefully. All the panels are welded together, and the next thing I wanted to do was to make the hole for the gas cap. But then I realized it's way easier to pressure test if I don't have that hole. So I will go ahead and weld this up, and I'll see you when it's time to pressure test this bad boy. Well, that took some time, and even though the welds aren't perfect, I hope they do their job. I will clean them up a bit with the die grinder, and then it's time for the pressure test. I will fill the tank with compressed air and spray all the seams with soapy water, and we'll see if we have any leaks. This is actually really exciting. With the tank being completely airtight, there's only really two things left to do. Making a hole for the gas cap and finding a way to mount the tank to the frame. In the rear, I will keep the stock mounting point. It's in a fairly good position and it actually doubles as a hold down for the seat, so I will need to keep that. But for the front, I'm yet to decide exactly what I want to do. I know that I want to get rid of this bulky stock things that sticks out from the side of the frame, and right now I'm leaning towards drilling a hole right here, putting a bung and a tab on the tank. But we'll see. I'll start with the rear. it's done. And I will let you take a closer look in just a second, and I will put it on the bike, but first I just want to circle around to the beginning of the video. Actually, let me get that old tank. I don't know if you remember, but my main objective was to make something that was less ugly than this. And looking at it now, I realized that wasn't such a big ask. Just look at it, it's huge. Like, why did I make it so big? Anyway, I don't know about you, but personally I think I succeeded. I'm actually really happy with this tank, and more importantly, I learned a ton of stuff. TIG welding, for example, I had zero previous knowledge, and I wouldn't say I'm an expert now, but at least I know my way around a TIG welder, and that will be huge for upcoming projects. I think that's enough talking. Let's take a closer look at this tank. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!